Hi guys, Debbie Dubois here. I am here with my friend and sister, Kimberly Fisher. And one of the reasons why we wanted to create this video today is because we've had such a wonderful time exploring where we're at spiritually together, that we've been able to contrast, where we are now with where we see ourselves going. And the comparison that really struck both of us is we're both in a super manifestation place. So she has been superly manifesting an oracle deck, which we'll talk about, a little bit later in this, but we'll also talk about it. We've got, other videos that we want to do and everything about this, but hers has been a manifestation that happened, over 2.5 weeks? Super manifesting.
I mean, really of bringing it in, yes.
Right, right, of physically manifesting. And I myself, in my digital marketing company, created a platform that I'm working on that if you look at it, you'd be like, there's no way you could have created it in 3 weeks. She can attest to that. So as we started comparing notes, what we started to understand is that we're really, with all the work that we've been doing and all the releasing that we've been doing, we're actually hitting new peaks, new heights of creation. Now, I want to ask you to explain to them what you just told me when we were kind of brainstorming and things like that, and we were trying to get into a good space for this video. And tell them what you saw and what was shown to you.
Yeah, okay, so we actually did a couple of outtakes that we're like, oh, we gotta stop, try this over again. So we're gonna just take a few deep breaths, right? You guys have all been there. And I'm looking down in front of me, the lake is right in front of me, right below my feet, and all of a sudden I just see this spider web that they were showing me, and they're like, there's something in this for you. And so I'm trying to think of what that is. So what came through is basically that I feel like all of us who are on, star seeds, light workers, we're on a path of truly bringing helping the whole entire earth ascend into, higher dimension. And we've been doing that by our own internal personal work that was so intense that had to clear all the channels. Of course, we all know this. This is where our journey has been focused so much on clearing and healing for so long. I've been
pain and agony and why?
Yeah, right. But we feel like we've done that. There might still be a little bit more here and there.
We did see that, didn't we? That we're starting to be like, oh my gosh, we did that.
Yeah, that part, that phase is done. It feels like a phase that's finished. So when I'm looking at this this spider web, what they were showing me was the spider web took time. It took her a while to spin that web, right? So she's doing the work of creating that web. And that's a very intricate design. And now, though, the web is finished, and she's just sitting back and waiting for the web to catch everything that she needs in order to manifest, in her physical world, everything that she's already projecting out, into the future. She's spinning that web because she knows it will catch her food and everything she needs. And so I feel like the work that we have been doing for me, it's been about a 5-year journey so far of aware of
it's been just about 5, or even for me 6.
Yeah. Of being aware of it, that now, and I know all along that I could see certain kinds of progress, but that progress was more like internalized progress. But now I have just started to experience things and it's speeding up too, where it's starting to come into the physical form in such miraculous ways. You manifested it. It came out of thin air. It came out of nowhere. And I even have other people who are telling me, they're looking at me and they're like, Aria, because that's the name I go by in my channel reading, you're such an inspiration because of everything that's happening now. They see the physical, and I'm like, it's going to happen for you too. It's just around the corner. And then sure enough, I have another story of a friend just a couple days ago that started telling me where everything turned around. It manifested in a physical way. He said, 10 times better than I could have ever done it. If I couldn't have imagined it having come in such a powerful way, with such a benefit, more than I wanted by 10 times, 10 times better.
And you never would have known.
Right. And I feel like we're all moving into that energy. That's what's happening with me creating these cards, with you and your other project. And I've got several projects going on that are just all of a sudden happening.
I was going to say, that's what's so amazing is that it's yes, I have the one project I'm working on. And what was so miraculous about this project is that we actually had to give it up. And you went through this too. I had to give up my project because it manifested so quick, and yet it didn't the piece that would have made it really, really good went away, and we're like, oh God, we can't do it. And now we don't have the developer to do it. And so we kind of put it away, kind of like you had with your particular situation. And then it was like the second we let it go and say, you know what, I'm disappointed, that didn't work out. All of a sudden, a brand new way to do it manifested itself, and then it was like, and like within a couple weeks, it's done.
Right.
It's done, and so we just wanted to put together a quick video because of the fact that we're both simultaneously experiencing this. We know other people that are simultaneously experiencing this, so we wanted to just put that out there that if that's not happening to you yet, that
It was
is
going to really soon.
and you
just
never
wait.
know. Well, and I always say to people,
Yeah.
you know, I am here to provide encouragement. I'm like the universal cheerleader. I'm the one that says, hey, I know you're walking through this big, huge creek and there's big, huge rushing, you know, waters and everything else, but I'm standing on the other side, and I'm here to tell you that you just need to keep going because you're going to get to the other side, and I'm here so I can beckon you forward and say, come on,
Right.
come on, I know you can do that. So that was one of the major reasons why I wanted to have this conversation. This exact same thing happened with you. See, the thing is, you know, we're working together actually. And
Yeah.
that's another aspect of this video, is what true collaboration is.
Yeah, we wanted to talk about that because a lot
Yeah.
of people are a little bit afraid of collaboration, I think, but that's the old template where the idea is that we're fearful of, well, if I collaborate with someone, am I going to give away too much control, or then it will infringe
Or it
on
won't
my
be
territory?
fair,
Yeah,
or the monetary exchange won't be fair. We have groups, and people, you know, want to maintain control over groups, and you know, there's still been the energy there that makes it difficult to collaborate. And you and I, like, we're very intense people. Kimberly and I are very bottom line, direct. We get to the point where do. The two of us together have been like,
Yeah.
and sometimes I'll have to say slow down because she's so fast at stuff, and then I'm so fast at other things. So we're trying to move our project that we're doing together forward. But the point is that the other thing that we're realizing is that true collaboration. It's time for true collaboration.
It is time for that. We
And
got to lay
it's-
down our whatever fears that we have about it, because we're also ushering in new templates by and
Right.
you know, rewriting the templates on collaboration. And I understand, you know, the human fears. We've all had those bad experiences of collaborating with someone and getting burned, right?
Oh my
So-
gosh, that's some of the biggest things that I deal with in my job. Is my partner has had a lot of experience, you know, in industries, you know, with, you know, people getting away with, you know, taking and not giving, and so I think we're kind of bred to feel that way and think that way. But what we're seeing here is true collaboration is able to come as you start, you know, once you've gotten rid of a lot of those blocks.
Yeah.
Once you've gotten rid of a lot of the fears that you're not worthy, or that it's not going to work out the way you want it to if you don't do it all yourself, and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And having to have everything all planned out, and the contracts and the structure and all of that stuff, it's all fine and good. There's a place for that, and you know, there's a place for all that, but at the same time, you know, there's this trust factor. There's a definite trust factor that you have to have. And we also want to say that that's available. That's available
That,
for
in other
everybody.
words, right? Like we have. I feel like there's been some thresholds that we have accomplished and crossed over to open up new windows of opportunity.
Right.
And I'll just go again, like I was telling to you, and want to say about I love Magenta Pixie. Every time one of
Oh,
her
yeah.
videos come out, it's like such an inspiration to me. And it always, like, I'll take her messages and then I'll apply them specifically the way she says, or some other way in my own life.
Right.
She has recently been mentioning quite often about this idea of pre-manifest, and from the pre-manifest bringing it into the manifest, because that's how it works. And so we have been, I feel like we've also been we've been manifesting new templates.
Right.
So not only are we manifesting in our own lives, like, you know, how we want to do things and how we're moving forward in a new way of living, but there's also larger templates. And when that template is like, we've been doing it in the pre-manifest, and now it's come down and it's ready for people to like step into it, which is like a new way of being, living, doing everything.
Right.
But it does take boldness. And this is where I feel like
No fear.
Right? And I
No
do.
fear.
I know that I have, and a lot of my experiences, and I'm sure this is the case for all, you know, your viewers, that you've had experiences that have given you the opportunity to grow, so you know, lose more and more of the fears that held us back, because
Right.
you know, the new world is coming, but we're creating it. That's how it's coming.
Right.
We're creating it one, you know, step, one new template at a time. So
Right.
I do feel like there's kind of like a new like another phase we're just entering into a new phase,
Right.
and we're going to see a lot more and more people get into that new phase of living, doing, and being, that's starting to start seeing a real physical change in our lives.
Right.
Those of us who have struggled financially, or who haven't come into partnership
There
with our
you
divine
go.
beloved or whatever, we're going to start seeing that.
And
I'm
it's starting to see
now,
it. Yes.
already.
That's the beauty of this, is
Yeah.
that we're starting to see that. We're starting to see these relationships blossom, and there's like no attachments, and there's, you know, only creativity and promise, and yet they're not necessary. You know, it's like not necessary. Like, oh gosh, I have to have all of that. Yeah, that's the one part I really.
And look at, I'm here. You know, every time, I'll just have to say that in the last, you know, especially last year or so, every single trip I've ever taken, it's always been just divinely guided. I got, you know, pushed to do a certain thing, and then later on, you know, set up a trip or something, and then later on, all of these pieces started falling in place of people I needed to see, or somebody popping up out of the woodwork out of nowhere from my
Right.
past, and suddenly they're a piece to my missing piece to
Right.
my puzzle or whatever. And it's so fun to, you know, like if we try too hard
Yeah.
to make something happen, and we all know this, then, you know, we'll miss out on the amazing miracle of just watching it manifest itself. But it still takes an action. Like, you do have to take action. Like
Oh yeah,
had in the back
I
of my
do
mind.
all the time. I'm
Right?
doing constantly, but I'm not doing from a place of
pushing
a
and
push and
trying.
fear, and, you know, like, I'm going more with the flow.
Right.
I'm allowing myself to flow with what is. Like, we're sitting out here, and we've been working with this, you know, new way of communicating, you know, by being outside, and not just in our, you know, our offices, or with our cards, and, you know, how we usually do a lot of our videos in front of, you know, our computers or whatever. Well, this is new, but it's exciting. It's different. You go with the flow, and you try new things, and you allow, and that's a very necessary part of the manifestation process, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I will have to say too that, you know, there was a lot of time in there where I would do something, and then it apparently fell apart and didn't work.
Yeah.
But then later on, I've learned that all of those little experiences are now the very specific pieces of the puzzle that I now have.
Right.
Whether it was an experience, whether it was a specific skill I learned from that process or whatever, that now I'm putting all those pieces together and realize that they all had their roles. So if you're still
All those
kind of in a
failures.
place, yeah.
I mean, I just want to say that all the failures that I had in my digital marketing business, they've never been failures, but they didn't come to fruition. Some of you know the platform that I was creating for True Sacred Union, and all of these things. I was like, you know, and as they weren't, I want to say, coming to fruition the way I wanted them to, it didn't matter, because I was gaining the skills, the connections, the I don't know, the fortitude, clearing patterns.
Absolutely, all of those things, and that's exactly what my experience was too. It wasn't like everything that I did I thought was a total failure, but it was like, okay, but it didn't bring about the measured success of coming
More
to
money
fruition,
in the bank,
you know,
food on the
abundance
table, you
coming
know,
in.
the important stuff.
And so what we can say now is, and we'll do some, you know, reports later, but it's like all of those different pieces now are falling to place into creating, and it's not just like, oh, you know, something that's about just the money, but it's like about the mission. What was your mission? My mission, I know, is, as I've realized for a long time, has been giving people tools to tap into their own divine guidance. Basically, intuitive tools. That's why my cards are called Intuit. And intuitive divination tools, because I do believe we're all going to get to the point where we're so united with our higher selves that we don't need any kind of divination tool to reach that knowledge. But for right now, we're still, as humanity, we're in this transition phase of needing those, and that's been my mission. And all of a sudden here, all of those different experiences are adding up and coming together because I surrendered and allowed, and then I moved forward when I was able to, and they're coming together to make something happen. So every single person who watches this, you're on the track. It will happen. If you're still at that point that I've been for 5 years, where I'm like, where is it? It finally is. It will eventually come together, and I think we're on that cusp for it to start flowing more and more with everyone.
Right, and what I was going to say is when I look at my mission and my goal, I mean, I've got several of them, but in terms of this project that I'm creating, I've always been very dedicated to small business, that I always felt that we don't need to be working for other people, but we need to be working successfully for ourselves, and then working in collaboration with others, so we're not working alone. So the project that I'm working on is a big, huge network of contractors, construction contractors that are all working together in a Facebook kind of platform. And so those of you who know that I was creating the platform for Twin Flames at that particular time, that was like required learning for me to move into what I'm doing now. And now what it looks like I'm doing could very well be at an international level to help people work for themselves and work more effectively and get jobs and things of that nature. So we all have our higher spiritual missions that don't just involve us coming into our own. That is like one of the steps and stages, is coming into our own. And I really don't believe that we're all supposed to, and this is just, there's some that, may disagree with me, and then that may be not true for all of us, but I don't believe necessarily that we're all here as teachers forever.
Oh,
you know what I mean? It's like we are teachers in our lives. We're teachers by what we do. What we do, how we interact with others. We set the examples, we show the way. We don't always have to be, teaching people or healing people. I mean, there's the healing part, and everybody's going to be going through. I mean, we're talking about planetary. We've got so many things coming. But it doesn't matter what you've chosen to do, whether you're a healer or whether you work in an office or whether you have a house cleaning business or it doesn't matter what you do. It's inside you. And so creative expression has always been extremely, from the spiritual communication standpoint, I think for me personally, the spiritual expression or the creative expression, that's kind of why we're working together, because I kind of consider myself like a little bit of a dream maker, in that I want to help people make their dreams come true. First step is getting clear, getting really focused on your inner being, and then expressing it.
Yeah.
So
super exciting.
I know.
So we're going to do another video where we're going to show the oracle cards that
I definitely want to do that. Okay, go ahead. No.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I think, but for this one, we really kind of talked about more just a little bit of an energy report, how we see some things shifting. Oh, one of the things we wanted to talk about is how we see these cards in particular fitting in with kind of like a new phase.
Right. That is what started our conversation on wanting to have this video at all, because as we started looking at and we're going to talk about her cards in another video, and I want to do that. I'm going to tell you right now, I love them. And we're going to do that. But the reason why is we started to realize that our needs are changing. As we change, our needs are changing, and tools that used to really be helpful kind of leave us feeling a little bit flat sometimes. Like, oh, that's not quite enough. And so new tools are coming, and she just happens to have some new tools.
And I, when I set out to create them, I didn't know that's what I would give birth to, really, So, just in a nutshell, I read tarot cards, and that actually studying tarot was a huge part of my beginning of my awakening process and my journey. And I spent hours and hours and hours, like, you know, every day, every week, really all my spare time using it to access my higher knowing. I didn't know that's what I was doing at the time. I thought I didn't know what I was talking to or, you know, channeling. And it's your higher self. When you're using a divination tool, you know, you're tapping into your higher knowing. And anyway, I've done tarot for so long, but actually over time, I've been a little bit restless with the tarot and also some of the oracle cards that I was using. And so I started, I tried out a new system for me, which is an old system called Lenormand. And one thing I did like about Lenormand is that because I feel like we're going from more of this spiritual awakening and awareness that was going on now into more of like physical, practical, like we were weaving the web before. And now we're catching, you know, in our web,
opportunities
right?
is what I want to say, opportunities.
So now we're doing something more in a physical sense, and I actually wanted more specific information. I wanted to have like, okay, right now I've got like 3 different decisions that I need to make, which would be the best course of action for me. And
without necessarily calling someone else.
Well, yeah,
saying,
without
what
having
should
to
I
call,
do?
right?
What should I do, Mom?
Right, and so so I have found that the Lenormand, because it's kind of more of an everyday, it answers very specific questions and it's everyday language kind of thing, and it gives very specific answers. It was a great tool for that, but it's also very, very intensive to learn. And so even though I did spend a fair amount of time working on learning it, I was still only barely scratching the surface. So then I was like, well, I'm going to create a set of cards that takes the Lenormand idea, goes a little bit further.
Right.
And then I just started adding some things from tarot that I love, which I missed, you know, from tarot. And so that was in there too. But anyway, like I said, I didn't really know when I started out that that's what I was going to create. But what it has ended up being is this tool that I have my cards by me all the time. Even
I know
when I was driving and I was stopped in traffic and there was not even moving, so I'm like, I had some questions in my mind and I did a few cards and I, you know, got some answers.
Right.
So that's one of the things that you found that, and you, without me even telling you, that's how I was using the cards. That's how you started using them too.
That's exactly how I started using them.
So, and
on a day-to-day basis, like all the time, like they're always in my hand.
Right.
And I'm shuffling them, and my partner's telling me, put the cards down, Debbie. Put the cards down. I'm like, no, I can't.
Yeah. And so what we were talking about has how we both have seen, because we're switching from this one phase to the next phase. And what the tools that we had before for divination really weren't as useful. And now all of a sudden, right when we need them, this new tool has come out and it is so useful. Anybody can use these cards, and there's so many, like, and quick and easy. It's not like you have to do giant spreads. For us, we find like three cards, 3 to 5 cards, and you've got the answers you need, and boom, you can just move on. It's not like we're sitting there
and
spending
I was going to
hours.
say, what I do sometimes is I pull them, like if I'm on the phone with someone, and I'm almost like in a meditative state, because like I have a couple of business partners now, and you know, I'm on with one, and he's telling me about this wonderful day he's had, and I start spreading those cards out, and I'm listening, and I'm so excited for him, and I start pulling cards. And then I pull out 5 cards, and I look and I go, holy shit, Brad, look at the cards I just pulled. And they were all like right along the lines of what he was talking about.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's pretty exciting. So.
It is. So I'm going to end up doing, I'll just let you guys know right now, I mean, as a digital marketing agency, you know, we are now, I don't want to say client. No, we're partnering.
We're partnering.
We're partnering because I really want to. I begged her. I said, please let me, because I know how much I love the cards, and I want to be part of, you know, getting the word out there about them. So we are going to do a video that's going to be very specific about the cards themselves, and we're going to define, you know, go through, and actually we're going to do a video about like the deck, and the deck speaking to us, which will be an interview with the deck. I love that. I think that's such a great idea. So we're gonna do an interview with the deck, and I'm gonna introduce, as long as she's here with me, we're gonna introduce the cards and stuff, and then I'm gonna do a reading. I am using them every day for myself. I don't know how much I'm gonna be doing. I don't know. There's a lot of things that I don't know about what I'll be doing on my YouTube channel with cards right now, but they're the excellentest tool that I've got if I do more reading. So
And if we get tired of these cards and we're done using them, then there's more coming.
I was gonna say we've already said. Well, should I? I'm gonna.
Yes.
I'm just gonna say I'm calling her the new Taurine virtue.
Oh boy.
Because I know it's like, but I really feel like, oh my gosh, we can use more tools like this. They're so cool and they're so fun, and she's got more ideas already. So I'm like.
But they're
Go,
different.
girl.
They're not just
No.
like they're nothing like Doreen
They're
Virtue's
nothing
cards.
like any of those cards. They're not even the same size.
There's
They're,
there's nothing
they
on the
shuffle.
market like them.
No, there's not. So, anyways, but that's honestly really not why we started this video, because there's going to be videos about that. But you can see that the passion and the excitement that we have with the creative expression that we've identified, and how all of the pieces start coming together of all the things that you're learning to do. That is what this journey is for.
So exciting.
That's what it's about. And as that starts happening, it's like you start flying. And I don't know about you guys, I'm really ready to fly.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely.
anyways, thanks so much for taking time
Bye.
to hang out with us, and we'll see you later. Bye.